live with Billy and Glen. Stay tuned. Good afternoon, Glen.
Good afternoon, Billy. All that shines green is gold.
We are in the green room this afternoon, guys, reporting like a live radio host, covering the Saturday Real Estate Weekend Roundup. We're going to tell you, the facts, the figures, and the feelings from the buyers. It was busy despite the cold weather.
Look, it was cold today. Northern Beaches, I think it was 15 degrees, felt about 10. But the buyers were out, and sales were being made, and just a normal Saturday in real estate.
It was a busy one as well. We had an auction in the middle of the day up at 21 Waniti Road in Belrose, a beautiful big home, 3,000 square meters, only built 5 or 6 years ago. That would be an award-winning home. It's built to that caliber. And I know the team are working on putting a deal together post-auction, so stay tuned.
Yeah, I feel there's a deal coming there. What's really interesting about that home is what I really liked about it. Lisa's team and Lisa and Mark have sold properties in the last few years. I think they've topped out around 25 million.
Yep.
So you could imagine on the Northern Beaches what you get for 25 million. This was circa, 5 to 6.
Yep.
Really hard to put a price on. But even though it wasn't our most expensive property, it was definitely my favourite. And I'm not one, I only live 700 metres from the beach. I'm not one, this is up in Belrose, French's Forest.
That's 20 minutes back from the beach.
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes back. So it's not really my favourite part of the beach is to live. However, this has to be my favourite home. It's just the best way I can describe it is it's so well considered, so well put together. It's sort of the whole home is orientated north. Couple of water courses that run through it that, just really, really interesting. Huge garage underneath, 5-car garage.
Yeah.
One of the buyers was saying it was like GT, the game, where you go into the garage and pick your car. I'm not a big video games person. The last game I played was Atari Pong, but it had a movie room, theatre room, just a beautifully thought out property. What it really shows, this property is, when you've got an owner who engages an architect, they have some real clear things they want out of the house.
Yeah.
They want it warm in winter and cool in summer. This had views over the bush, over the national park.
Yes.
15 minutes walk to a waterfall. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. So I think that was the busiest open of the day. Well, combined with an auction, 17 groups in and around the auction. So really busy turnout. A lot of neighbours, no doubt. Curious to see what that sets in terms of a new benchmark for Belrose. Exciting. Stay tuned there. And then we whispered off to a couple of one-bedrooms in Dewine, at the other end of the spectrum.
And these properties, they're getting
Mossman. Yeah,
they're getting pretty long in the tooth. At least it's got 120 million out of Mossman. Some one-bedrooms, some humble one-bedrooms in Dewine. Billy and Glen around the 700-800 mark, but still getting 6 and 7 groups through.
Yep.
And I think we'll do deals on them over the next 48 hours. So, yeah, busy Saturday. Favourite listing of the week? What did you see you really liked, Billy?
Favourite? Oh, there was a lot of sales this week, so I've got a lot to say about my favourite sale of the week. However, favourite listing, we've got. I don't want to purely blow my own trumpet, Glen, but we do have a nice one coming on in COLLAROY. I'm a big fan of.
That
good buying.
That one there, the owner's been quite patient getting it onto the market, and there was some all these old white brick, blonde brick, red brick, brown brick units are coming up to 60 years of age. So there are some
Upgrades being done.
Yeah, upgrades and rectifications being done on them.
Yeah.
They saw through a special levy on this one.
Yeah.
And now the new owner is going to get a new property.
Yeah, it's amazing.
In a new building. I liken it to sort of, you know, old cars from the 80s and the 60s and so on, where, you know, they take these cars, or, you know, back to bolts, they say, and they do with these apartments, and you're getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah. But I'm excited to see where that one goes. I think that's really good buying value, and certainly great to enjoy a new balcony. Coming at the tail end of some significant work is a huge bonus. Yeah,
and it's also got you know, really usable common area with a rooftop deck.
Yeah.
Great. You know, go up there, read the. You don't really read the Sunday paper anymore, but read on your phone or look at your social media and enjoy the view. One of the best views down over COLLAROY and Longreef.
Yeah, so 7-18 Ramsay Street is the address. And your favourite?
Look, I really like that one. I really like that one. I think it'll be a cracker. What they've done on the building, like it's 60 years old now and goes strong for 60 years. Double brick, concrete slab, high ceilings, wide foyers in the common area. Yep. Everything you want from an old building. And what new buildings can't really afford now is that double brick concrete slab construction. So yeah, I really like that one. Sales of the week. Is this going to be a solo, Billy?
No, it's not. But there was sales and a plural. I think the team together, there was about 6 deals put together in the week.
Yeah, look, it's a busy week. We do work on quarters here, so it's interesting how a lot gets done before the expiry of our quarter. But yeah, lots of sales. A lot of sales too. Look, my favourite was 5 Ryrie Road by Xanthony, Anthony with a Z.
Yep.
And I thought that was a sale whereby multiple buyers, there needed to be a bit of thought from the vendor.
Yes.
How to proceed, who was the best buyer for them. It was a property that was unfinished. So often when you get those properties where there may be some work, there's conditions buyers want, and you've got to wade through that. But she hang in there, and Billy had a buyer, and Badan had a buyer. I think Mark had a buyer.
There was nine offers on the property.
Yeah.
Starting at about 2 million to the sale price of 2.45. So you're correct. There was a process.
Yeah, and it was one where Xanthony, who's been with us for a while and has moved into sales, worked every aspect of the business. And I think she was able to use that experience to get the sale together. So hats off to Xanthony, Anthony with a Z.
Yeah, and another one that we've been working on for a little while, about 72 days on the market, a 2-bedroom apartment in Kingsway. We did get a good result put together on that one. Still in excess of the guide. So that guide was revised mid-campaign, bit of strategy involved to build the momentum, and it worked a treat. We did get there in the end, and a great result for the purchaser as well.
Yeah. Nice property, nice outlook. Just probably what caused a little bit of length, we did have a higher offer earlier in the campaign, which the owner felt they wanted to still explore the market, and then we kicked it off again and got back to that level. But we had a small living area, and we worked around that, and I think the buyer will be very happy there.
Yeah.
The west side of DY, whilst it's probably 900 metres away from the beach, a little bit more parking, less congested, quieter. Again, if you've got, this was a sort of a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1 car. They're being picked up by small families, not small in stature, but small in the number of people in the family. Maybe families of mum and dad and 1 kid, or mum or dad and 2 kids. 3 people. A good family unit.
Yeah, 65 square meters internally, and I do find a little bit of a newer building as well. Built in 2008, not not one of your older buildings. You might find 70s style, and for that, you benefit from no fire upgrades needing to be done. Security, intercom's already in.
Was that double brick?
It was brick build, and it was extremely reasonable strata. So there are lots of benefits.
Yeah, some of those early 2000s sort of properties, they still were constructing in double brick, so they can be really, really well constructed properties, thermally, cool in summer and warm in winter.
Yep.
Once you heat them up, so yeah, they're real little gems out there in the D1 market.
Yeah, so they're good, some good sales. Great to see price points at all levels are moving well. Not a huge amount of stock on the market once again. Glenn, what's on everyone's minds for our barbecue bits topic?
Let's not rush over stock. We're back around 62 properties on the market in DY. We were as high as 80 at one stage.
Yes.
And I think stock will diminish leading into end of financial year. That's when a lot of agents, unlike us at Novak, go on their winter vacation, often to somewhere warm like Europe or America or Asia. Novak will be busy working. So if you're looking to sell over that period, sell in isolation, low stock numbers, rather than competition, really, really good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You did mention something to me as well, Billy, that you have seen some investors back in the market, and I have myself. Ryrie Road, when we talk about investors, that had 2 dwellings on one lot.
Yep.
And so did Edward Street, NARRAWEENA.
Yes.
And both sold really quick to investors. So interesting.
And it's a great segment into our rentals.
Mental rentals
segment. There are some more investors coming back into the market, and people are liking the fact that obviously rents have met the market in terms of growth. They've caught up a little bit over 2 to 3 years of not a huge amount of change. So that's positive for the landlords. Just good to see a little bit more stock being snapped up and put back into the rental market. Yeah,
well, I think for investors coming back into the market, even though no one's going to call it, we may be at the peak cycle for interest rate increases, the top of the cycle.
Yep.
So investors are thinking, hey, maybe I get in now. Interest rates will come down, rents will still continue to rise as Australia grows bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, but what's on the tip of everyone's tongue, really?
I did see people talking about auctions, funny enough. Again, there seems to be a lot of action, but what happens if the property doesn't sell afterwards? We like to talk about the 30-30-30, and the buyer asks, well, what is that? Tell us, Glenn.
Well, I think you're alluding to, Billy, that 30% of properties, well, let's say 33%, because otherwise we're left with 10% at the end. But 33% of properties sell pre-auction, 33% of properties sell on auction day under the hammer.
Yep.
And 33% of properties that don't sell before or on the hammer sell within 10 days after the auction.
Yep. Okay.
And Delmar Avenue was an example of that. Do you want to unpack that sale and what happened with that one, Billy?
Well, it's a great example of how a campaign can change from pre-market to on-market to auction to sold post-auction. So
please tell, Billy.
This was a property that we launched with a slightly bullish price guide pre-market at 135. Property was on the market for a little while.
Let's just explain that. So when we're pre-market, we're not on realestate.com or domain.com.
Yep.
In big ads. So once you go on those two platforms, it's really, the clock's ticking. Once you get to about 4 weeks or 28 days on those platforms, it's saturated the market, the property, and people are saying, why hasn't it sold? What's wrong with this property? So you have to be really, really sharp with your price. You have to get people in and get offers and pick the best one. Pre-market, you can be bullish because you're not going to oversaturate the market. Explain that, Billy.
Well, that's right. So you can be a bit more, you can be a little bit more bullish. You can tailor the campaign in slightly different ways. There's no time, set on the property. So the strategy with this one was to pivot mid-campaign and sharpen that guide up so we could meet the market on price and competition, and then use that as a momentum to build the campaign back from the beginning. That one ended up passing in with people registered at the auction. However, there were multiple groups that couldn't attend and bid unconditionally. We did put a sale together pretty much at the guide price thereafter that one. So great example. I'm seeing a lot of people at the moment fearing that they might not be able to bid. Don't worry. If the property doesn't sell, you don't need to miss out. And equally, if a property is going to auction, you can still put an offer in. Some do sell prior.
Yeah. I think we always explain to our vendors that, could sell prior, could sell on the day, or could sell 10 days after. The one in Delmar that Billy's talking about, we went out to market. The owner was in two minds. Thought, let's get some price feedback from buyers.
Yep.
We said, let's be really bullish. Okay, let's have a high guide, see what people are feeling around that guide. That gave us the ability then, when the vendor said, hey, we would really like to sell it, to put it to auction with not just our assessment of where the price was, but buyers. They're the ones that really are going to end up buying it, not us.
Yes.
And we went to auction. We had a guide to be about 100,000 lower than where we ended up. We had 3 to 4 people come on auction night, a couple of bids, but not at a level to sell. Some of the buyers, and this is because of bank criteria, they couldn't buy under auction. They needed a cooling off to finance their finance. They ended up buying it. A bit of competition. We did the best and fairest after the auction. There were 2 people that had that bank imposed criteria.
Yep.
Best and fairest with them. Billy's being a bit modest. 24 hours later, 100,000 over the guide. We had the property sold.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
On a cooling off. 5 days later, unconditional.
Yeah, it was a great result.
So that pre-market strategy really enabled us to go forward and get the owner a sale at a great price without any risk to them, because they knew where the offers were going to come in. They knew what buyers we had and got it done. Now,
Glen, before we wrap up this afternoon, I want to know what's on for your weekend.
Well, everyone's home. My daughter Isabel, she went off to El Salvador for the 3rd time for the Junior World Titles. And when we talk about this trip, it was a diamonds and dust trip. So some of her efforts were diamond and the others, unfortunately, were dust. But great thing about competition when you're young, she's only 15, is there plenty more to come. They had a wonderful time. So I think my wife is a wonderful cook. She cooked for the team when they went away. Brought a little rice cooker and cooked it all out of a rice cooker and gave it to the driver that was looking after them, so no one got food poisoning. I think it's green curry chicken.
Lovely.
A lovely beer. Nice sleep, then down to Manly tomorrow for some surfing and some fun. Young Wilson, what about yourself?
Well, we've got one of our lovely property managers, Tara, going off for some travels. So I think we're doing some farewell drinks tonight and wishing her, all the best with her next chapter.
Tara's been with us for probably
2 years, I reckon.
Almost coming on to 3. Works in probably the busiest team in the business, the Broncos portfolio.
Yep.
Management. Her and a few other girls, they whip into shape about 650 managements, and they do it in a way that enabled Bronca to become Property Manager of the Year Australia-wide a few years ago. So she's off to Europe. Anyone out there in Europe, look after her. Very dear to our heart, young Tara.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a nice evening. That's it from the team. We're back tomorrow. We've got some Sunday specials as well. We're down at COLLAROY, down at DY. If you're looking for anything.
Beacon Hill, are you at Beacon Hill tomorrow?
Not tomorrow, but can do by appointment. And
Okay.
if you need us, we're only a phone call away.
Have a great Sunday.
See you guys.